Yes, that water's brown. Yes, that water smells. Not only does it smell, it smells badly. Ugh. Here's a little factoid for you. Did you know that in order for an oyster to make a bed, it has to make its bed in a bed of oyster shells? I didn't know that. Amazing the things you learn when you come down here to the south. How to catch an oyster. Step 1, get a boat. Step 2, get a beer drinking, smoking oysterman. Step 3, make sure you dress very warmly because dang, it's cold out there. Take said boat down Shit Creek, or up Shit Creek, depending on which way the tide's rolling, preferably towards the oyster beds, the Gulf of Mexico, out into the harbor. And you head out, you got the motor going, putty, 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 put, but you got to cut it off because that water gets real shallow right here at the mouth of Shit Creek. Once you're at Shit Creek, you have to make sure that your boat does a 360 half dozen times and bounces off the shore about 200 yards, where you get to spend the next 30 to 45 minutes trying to figure out how to get the bow of the boat facing in the direction you want in some very stiff winds. Towards the oysters, preferably, because up Shit Creek is not a place you want to go. You want to go down Shit Creek, towards the oyster beds. So, after 2 beers and 3 cigarettes and 4, 5, 6 profanities yelled at the crew to get the boat pointing in the right direction, you can now start the motor. And you can motor on out, under the bridge, around the peninsula, out in the freezing cold weather, and the blowing winds, and the man who's got nothing but a slim hoodie, he's not cold, because I asked him, I said, hey, are you cold? He says, no, I'm freezing. You go out under another bridge, and you get out to this place called Cat Point, and that's where the clean oysters are. That's where the clean water is. Get out there going back and forth. There's a nice mixture of salt water and fresh water going back and forth. You get out there and then you pull out this tool. You throw out your anchor, which happens to be, and this is very important, you have to have the right kind of anchor. It has to be a crankcase from a '64 Ford pickup truck. Helps for it to be a little rusty. And you get that sucker down there, prevents the boat from moving around. And then you get out the evil rake. Imagine 2 garden rakes with a hinge, like this. And you got those suckers down, and you get the scissor action going. Put the handles together, you hoist it up, you bring it up over the head of the crew, and you drop it onto the culling platform, where the culler will sit there with a little, he also has an evil tool as well, but not as evil as the evil rake. And it's a piece of steel with these little prongs sticking out about like that. And you take that piece of steel with a handle on it, you grab yourself up some muddy, wet oysters, and you go pack, 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 pack. You knock off the little crusties off it, and then you have yourself an appropriately sized, beautiful, ready-to-eat fresh oyster. You know why I know that? Because the captain of the boat, the oysterman, pulls out his knife, and he told me so. He said, here, man up, have one. I said, I never had one of those before. Yeah, you gotta have one. It's like, so I sat there, I said, oh, no, thank you. So then, the wife of Richard Haney's on board, oh, she'll take one. So oh, that's really good. Oh, great. Great, thanks, that's just awesome. 30 minutes later, all right, give me one of them things. And I actually tried one. Of course, when you do that, the science crew that you're with is going to go, what are you doing eating the samples? Well, I'm here to report to you that after having eaten a raw oyster, number 1, it was good. It was really good. It tasted yummy. Going down, very satisfying. I did not get sick. I actually felt pretty good. Now, I collected up all these oysters that we had gathered that day, put them in buckets, put it on some ice, and I drove it back to Alabama, to Mobile, to the chemist for him to test. And I returned back to find out that everybody here got sick because amongst some of the other things that we collected had been some of the crap from the bottom of Shit Creek. And when they were divvying up the samples, there may have been some contact, skin to sample, and they got violently ill. So, and she wasn't the only one, Nancy, getting sick. John was not feeling well. There's a gentleman here who went out with us wearing a thin hoodie. His daughter got sick and they've been removed from this property. So while I'm here making it a little bit fun, I've hoped that you've been educated as to what it takes to collect oysters here in this area. And I hope you also understand that this is their livelihood. This is how they make money. And I want to know why we got all this pollution being dumped down this creek right into the harbor where your oysters are harvested and you get to eat them. An oyster is a filter. Do you want it filtering excrement? I certainly don't. But is it excrement? We shall soon see. In about a day or two, Robert Naiman will be coming back with some results and we'll find out exactly what's in this creek, and we're going to find out exactly what's in that water where we harvested. This shit creek here does not dump into Cat Point where we were harvesting the other day, but this is dump into what they call Summer Bar, and this is where they harvest oysters in the summertime. So there you have it. Much more to come with regards to this documentary. I have an interview with Bob Naiman that goes probably good 30-45 minutes, and a lot of other information as well. It's just been a lot to digest in more ways than one. And a bit, if I'm being honest, a little bit overwhelming. So yes, it's been about a week since my last update. Hope you'll forgive me for that, but we have been on some very exciting news and information reports and scientific studies that are revealing, guess what, that what John and Nancy are doing here is consistent with what the dairy industry is using to clean water runoff from their cows. So, you know what? I think we're close to proving whether this thing works, and if there's also a study out there that shows that it's already working on dairies, why can't it work here in Shit Creek? Anyway, I thank you again for watching. If you have any comments, suggestions, feel free, because those of you who are writing to me know I do respond to you personally, and I appreciate you writing to me. And until next time, you all have a great week.